Welcome to Martini Time. I forgot to wind my father's clock here. Excuse me a minute. See, I set it. Isn't that beautiful? It's my name initial there, EGC. I set this to 5. Whoa, I just closed it off. I set this to 5 o'clock, and then I start my talk, and I can track how my 20 minutes. So it's my little discipline, my father's discipline. See, he was given that watch when he graduated from Annapolis in 1929 by his grandmother, Gussie. That's what she was called. My middle name is Gus, so I have Gussie in my name, Gus. So this, his grandmother, I think was German, and she came to San Francisco. She got on at 19, she got on a sailing ship and went all the way around Cape Horn to San Francisco. And she married a prospector. And he struck it rich. And they split the money. And he took off with the money, and she took her money and went to Pocatello, Idaho, and bought rooming houses. And so when my father, whose father was there would be my grandfather, who was a silver miner, a lot of miners, and he went broke, and so Gussie took my father and raised him in Pocatello, and he worked his way up through scholarships to get to Annapolis and become a naval officer. And she gave him that watch when he graduated in 1929. Poor Irish boy. Who had brought himself up to become a naval officer of the United States of America. So anyway, I digress, which is what this talk is all about. Oh, wait a minute. It's Martini time. So let's ask the frog what he's going to come up with in the pool of the unconscious. I send him down for an insight. And today's metaphor. Now, what I hope to give you in these talks are metaphors that you can use like a tool, a metaphor toolbox for awakening. You should have one. A metaphor toolbox for awakening. So when you get into a fix, you get into a dilemma, you get into a negativity, you can pull up a metaphor tool to get you out. Kind of like MacGyver, who was in a fix. He can always create something out of what's given to get himself out of a fix, to get rid of the negativity. So we're interested in getting rid of the negativity of the mind. That's irritation, anger, depression, envy, greed, anxiety, fear. All the list is on and on and on. Stress, tension. See, we want to get rid of that. We don't have to have it. You can be free of that. Doesn't mean that you don't have things, problems and things like that. It's just that you become Teflon and they don't stick. So we're looking at how to get rid of not being Teflon to become, or Velcro to become Teflon. That's what we're looking at. And you need a metaphor. So the metaphor today, which is what a friend of mine comes over during the day, or at lunchtime usually, we have lunch with me and we talk and metaphors happen. And this one was a really good one. Now, I remember this. So see, a lot of the metaphors that are so great are gone now, like sailing ships and steam engines and things like that. You know, we don't grow up with those anymore. They used to be universal metaphors. Well, one of them was if you used to, and I remember this, when you used to go to a movie theater, people smoked. And there was no objection. It's just everywhere. In the 50s, everybody smoked. In the 40s and 50s, I grew up in the 50s, smoke was everywhere. There was no objection to it. It was like objecting to air. You see, there was just no idea that you would have a smoke-free world. So anyway, if you went to a movie theater and you were watching a movie, and then you looked up, you would see the beam of the projector with the smoke in it. And that made you aware there was a projector. you see. And you couldn't be aware of the projector and be lost in the movie at the same time. Just as when you're lost in the movie and somebody pokes you and says you got some popcorn, you can't be giving them the popcorn, which might create some negativity. Get your own popcorn. I'm watching a movie. You see, so you can't be in the movie and giving them popcorn or seeing the projector. Now let's talk about Maya. I ran across this the other day because I've been rereading Joseph Campbell. And Maya has 3 functions. Maya is a ancient word for the phenomenal world, the goddess Maya, mother, Madonna, mother, Maya. In India, in the Asian philosophies, the goddess creates phenomena, is the creator of the world of form. Just like women create form. Women create babies. They create worlds. They create form. In our, the man comes home with the money and gives it to the woman, and she creates a world in it. That's kind of like how the old social roles have worked. The man makes money, gives it to the wife, and she creates a world that the family lives in with it. She goes out and buys the food and fixes everything up and creates the world in which they live, you see. So the man just goes out and makes the energy, comes home. This is a 50s stereotype. The man comes home with his coat and tie, and the wife is waiting there in her apron, and he comes in and he gives her the money, and he sits in the chair, and she brings him slippers and a pipe and a cocktail, and she creates the meal. Yeah, no, anyway, that's 50s. But the idea is that Maya creates the world of form. Now, it's also in the Eastern religion, is that the world of form is an appearance. Shakespeare calls it a dream. Life is but a dream. And as you get older, you get that feeling that it was all a dream, you see. And we're always in, now, for instance, we're interviewing the mass shooters, they got the microphone there. This is from a Mortal and Pestle. I keep this here because I love it's beautiful, and it also is another metaphor. But anyway, so you got the person who was just in a mass shooting, or 9/11, or something happened, and they say, well, it didn't seem real. It was just, is this happening? I can't believe it's happening. Everything is dislocated. Everything, it feels like a dream. This can't be happening. This can't be happening, you see. So this, when tragedy comes, death in the family, whatever, house burns down, something what we value is stolen, something that we cling to is stolen, you see. This can't be happening. I'm lost, you see. The dream is punctured. And you're driving down the road on the highway, and you're dozing. You're not dozing, hopefully, but you're daydreaming, and somebody's driving the car, but you're lost in thought, and suddenly you hit the edge of the road, or somebody swerves or something. Whoa! You jerk back. Wait. Or you go by and you say, wait a minute, where am I? I missed my turn, and I have no idea where I am. And you look, oh, there's a signpost. Oh, now snap, you're back into reality. But for a moment, you have no idea where you are. Now, that's a common experience for me. But it's a good metaphor for that feeling of being lost, like I thought the dream was real. The dream was in place. And then suddenly, I don't know where I am. And then we are panic. We're in a panic. We've got to find a signpost. We've got to find a tree I recognize, a store, a familiar face. Blackstone people always loved to tell stories about how somebody was, particularly during the war, and they're over in Morocco or something, and they go to the bathroom, and there's so-and-so from down the street. Snap. Oh, I'm in place again, and we become the best friends with these people. You might meet them you might meet somebody from Blackstone in a restaurant in North Carolina, which my sister-in-law does. She's always meeting from People Connect, and suddenly they become best friends. But if you met them in Blackstone, you wouldn't talk to them. But I guess I'm digressing. But the point is, when you look up and see the projector, you realize that the movie is a dream. And just 2 seconds before that, you were totally involved in the movie. You were gone in the movie, experiencing everything in the movie as the movie. When you go into a movie, you become the movie as the movie. And you experience everything that everyone is experiencing as if you were in a dream, that you had created all of the characters in the dream and the movie. And if this one is hurting and that one's excited and all that, you feel all that, you see. You don't have a viewpoint in the movie. You don't have a projector point in the movie. In other words, when you're in the movie, there is no single fixed point from which you are viewing the movie. You are all of the movie, every whichever. And movies do this because you keep getting new camera angles. We don't watch movies like home videos. Remember when we first started doing home videos, movie weddings, it would be a fixed camera. And you would just watch the wedding from that fixed position. And when it first started, it was exciting because you didn't have it. And then somebody decided, well, if you use 2 cameras, you can switch the viewpoints. Now you pay somebody to video your wedding. So you get 2 cameras. 1 minute you're close up, the next minute you're looking from another angle. Boom, boom. And you shift the viewpoints, you see, so that you can enter into the movie and you don't get bored with one viewpoint. So the mind, now let's get back to Maya. Okay, there are 3 functions to Maya. All right, I just about lost my thread here, but I'm back. 3 functions of Maya. The first one is to deceive. The world of appearances is not what you think it is. That's the first rule. Your thinking is not real. The world is not what you think you are. You are not what you think you are. That's the first rule. You are not, and the world is not what you think it is. Period. Because thinking is an abstraction of the world. It's like saying the menu is the food. The menu is thinking. You don't eat the menu. You eat the food. So you don't eat your thinking. Your thinking is what you think the world is. And it's a projection. So thought projects. Now the second feature, if I keep my fingers right here, 1, 2, the second feature of Maya, the function of Maya, is projection. Projection on a screen. So there's deception and there's projection. Now here's the way I frame this. Suppose a fog bank is coming in, like in San Francisco, and suddenly you don't know where you are. You lose your landmarks. Well, we can't tolerate not knowing where we are, so what do? We project if you had a fog bank, you could make it into a movie theater. You could project images on that fog bank. So when the fog of unknowing, when the fog of appearances come in, we project on it our story. And so now I orientate myself to the movie that is projected by my mind. So these 2 features work together. There is deception. Appearances are not what they are. And because appearances are not what they are, we can't function in a situation where we don't know where we are. We have to know where we are. I have to be able to choose to go this way or that. We can't live if we're lost, you see, lost in thought. We have to be orientated. So we project on the screen of Maya our own perception, our own conditioning, what comes from my history, what comes from my view. And that view is collective, the viewpoint of my people, my family, my religion, and it's my personal view, which is conditioned by my own experiences and past of my family. So there's two projections coming together here. The larger one of my conditioned relativity in the world, my conditioning according to my beliefs and family and race and pain and all of that, you see, and then my individual unique conditioning, which is unique to me. And these come together and create a projection on the screen of Maya, and I live in it. Just like in the movies, when a lot of movies now, well, you're watching the movie and you get sucked into it, and the next thing you know, you're in a movie. Or kind of like Mr. Bean, who's now I'm in the world, So you're in this thing, and now, so these two functions work together, you see, appearance and projection. Aha! But there's a third function of Maya, which is release from the deception and the projection. So how do you get to the release? Well, you get to the release by seeing the smoke in the projection. You get to the release by realizing that you are projecting onto a fog bank. And San Francisco is lovely. People love San Francisco because you have the fog coming in and then you have the fog going out. So you get this constant play between uncertainty and certainty, between mist and sun, you see. So this Maya is kind of like the fog of unknowing, the fog of war, they talk about that, the fog of thinking, and the fog of projection, which is I project the enemy on this fog bank and then shoot it. I project the enemy up there. Oh, it's Obama. Oh, it's Trump, you see. I project it up there. And then we run from it or kill it. Try to kill it. You can't kill it. It's illusion. So you get the idea here. And the whole metaphor works is that you blow some smoke up there and you see you're watching a projection. Now this took me back to the movie Inception. You remember that movie? I love that movie. Now Inception, just very briefly, was about a dream team. They go into the dream of another person and change something way down there in the bottom in his subconscious. So when he wakes up, he does something different. So they got to go dream travel in there. Well, if you go into another person's dream, there's the danger that you'll think it's real and you'll stay there. You'll stay there. So how do you not stay there? Well, you have a little totem. I think it was a little spinning top, you see. And if you were in this dream situation and you spin that little totem, and I forgot whether if it kept on spinning, you knew you were in a dream. If it fell over, you weren't. So you need a totem. So the metaphor here is that if you're in a negativity and you're caught up in a dilemma, you're caught up into what is going on here, what is this, what is real, what isn't real, what I'm falling, I'm being pulled into this fog bank, what's going on? Blow some smoke up there and see if you can see the projector. You see, if you see the projector, you're in a projection. You're in a dream. And when you see the projector, now you could try this in a movie. It's impossible to see the projection, the beam of the projector, and be lost in the movie at the same time. Just as it's impossible to be lost in the movie and give somebody popcorn next to you. It snaps you out. So when you see the projector, you're snapped out of the movie. And now you know where you are. I'm right here. I've been here all along. But I was lost in a movie. I was lost in Maya. And most of us spend our whole life in Maya. We spend our whole life battling around in a movie trying to get out. But we can't because we don't see the projection. We don't see the projector of the mind projecting a reality on the fog of Maya. Thanks for dropping in. Maybe we'll come up with another metaphor tomorrow evening.